It is well established and scientifically proven that religion was the true source of everything the pharaohs accomplished. During the Pyramid Age, formalized religions became mandatory for all individuals. People worshipped Ra, the sun god, who symbolized life. The Book of the Dead, a pharaonic text containing 190 chapters, consisted of prayers and invocations for those who had departed to the afterlife, the world of immortality and bliss. This belief in resurrection and eternal life after death did not come to the pharaohs by chance. It is certain that they gained this belief from a deep conviction, though the source of this certainty was not explicitly mentioned. Towards the end of the 5th dynasty of Egypt, there stood in one of the capital's temples at Memphis a 2-meter-long stone, 70 centimeters high. Its 2 faces were inscribed with vertical lines detailing the names of all the rulers of Egypt, dating back to pre-dynastic times, with the length of each ruler's reign and notable events of each year. For some reason, this stone was broken into small pieces. So far, 6 fragments have been found. The largest and most significant is housed in the museum in Palermo, Italy. 4 smaller fragments are in the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, while the 6th piece resides in the University Museum in London. Why was this stone shattered and scattered around the world? The Turin Papyrus, discovered by the Italian explorer Drovetti in Memphis and transported to Italy in the early 19th century, contains the names of more than 300 kings, with the length of each king's reign listed beneath their name. It begins with the gods who ruled Egypt and continues through to the end of the 2nd intermediate period, including the Hyksos kings, ending just before the 18th dynasty. Why did the ancient Egyptians regard those who ruled before the 1st dynasty as demigods and followers of Horus, as mentioned in the Turin Papyrus? The Egyptian historian Manetho referred to the demigods as the offspring of Ra himself, with Ra foretelling that they would ascend to the throne. The story continues with the priest's wife becoming pregnant and miraculous events following, including the arrival of the birth gods, and it concludes with the account of the birth. Similarly, Queen Hatshepsut, during the New Kingdom, depicted in her temple at Deir el-Bahari the story of Ra's visit to her mother's chamber and her divine conception by the god Amun, followed by her birth. We also find a similar tale in Luxor Temple, where Amenhotep III narrated a story akin to that of Hatshepsut. A papyrus, currently housed in the Leningrad Museum under the number 1116, contains a testament from King Aktoi to his son Merakara. This papyrus offers advice and instructions from King Aktoi IV, Kati, to his son, King Merakara. Among the advice is the notion of a court after death, where a person stands humbly before judges, and only their good deeds can benefit them. Their deeds are placed beside them, and Aktoi advises his son to build religious monuments and make offerings, as pleasing God is essential, for God knows those who act for his sake. After offering his son guidance on both public and private life, Aktoi concludes his advice by urging his son to obey and fear God. He reminds him that God knows the secret and the hidden, and he must not forget his afterlife, always preparing for the day of judgment. Aktoi reminds his son to always remember God's blessings and says, "He is the one who created people. Those who emerged from his seed are nothing but reflections of him." He rises in the evening to fulfill their desires. He created for them plants, animals, birds, and fish to sustain them. Aktoi emphasizes that God values a person with a righteous conscience more than a wicked person who offers a bull as a sacrifice to the gods. Aktoi also notes that God punishes some people for their own good, likening it to a father disciplining his son out of care for his brother, as God knows every individual. Aktoi was the first king to express humility and weakness before the divine power. Pharaoh was no longer seen as an exalted, omnipotent god-king above humans. He proclaimed that human happiness in the afterlife depends on one's deeds in this life, and that every person, regardless of their status, will be held accountable for their actions before a divine court.